Welcome, junior geologists. We're here today to continue discussing the history of the Earth. We've learned that heat, pressure, and time are important because they cause changes in the Earth that may result in volcanoes. Yes, those go boom. I want you to listen carefully to find out more about some famous hotspots. Hawaii. I love this place. The land is beautiful, the people are friendly, the weather is perfect, and the surfing is terrific. Personally, however, my favorite part of Hawaii is the volcanoes. If you like volcanoes, and all geologists do, then there's really no better place than Hawaii. When most people think of volcanoes, they think of the top blowing off a mountain and lava flowing out everywhere. Volcanic activity usually comes in many different forms, not all of which are as spectacular as a mountaintop eruption. Hawaii is made up of 8 major islands. See, it looks really tiny way out in the distance. Yes, it's made of 8 major islands, as I said, 7 of which are inhabited, meaning people live there. The islands of Hawaii were formed by volcanic activity. In other words, if it weren't for volcanoes, Hawaii would not be there at all. Hawaii is one of the best known volcanic hotspots in the whole world. A hotspot is a place where there has been continuous volcanic activity for a long time. In Hawaii's case, the volcanic activity started underwater, so under the ocean water. In fact, most volcanic activity occurs underwater, deep down near the ocean floor. Down there, the crust is fairly thin, so it's easier for magma to seep up from the mantle. When a volcano erupts underwater, the lava that it releases cools very quickly. Over time, millions of years kind of time, this lava piles up. That is what happened in Hawaii. Over time, the lava continually erupting from the hotspot built up a pile that now reaches from the deep ocean floor all the way to the ocean surface where it became new dry land. Hawaiian volcanoes erupt gradually or little by little. The lava bubbles and gurgles and sputters rather than shooting up out of the earth all at once. There's still plenty of volcanic activity on some Hawaiian islands, which means the island chain is still growing. Now, let's compare the Hawaiian volcano to another type of volcano, the kind where the mountaintop explodes. This volcano erupted in the state of Washington, which is on the west coast of the United States. Also like Hawaii. Hawaii is on the west coast of the United States, but it's way out in the water. This is part of mainland United States, so Washington State, not DC. Yes, this is Mount St. Helen, and this is what it looked like until the year 1980. Mount St. Helen proves that Mount St. Helen proves that it is generally fairly easy to predict where a volcano will erupt. The hard part is figuring out when. Mount St. Helen has erupted many times over the course of 40,000 or so years, and during this time, the mountain's size and shape has changed. Magma is constantly building up within Mount St. Helens. Unlike the magma in the Hawaiian volcanoes, however, the magma in this area is much stickier than the magma in Hawaii. So it does not gurgle and sputter through little vents. Instead, the magma gets stuck, and incredible pressure, see, we're hearing those words, builds up within the mountain. Eventually, the pressure becomes so intense that the mountain cannot hold it anymore. And then, boom! The eruption of Mount St. Helen was the most destructive volcanic eruption in U.S. history. Hundreds of homes were destroyed and thousands of acres of forest were leveled when this mighty volcano erupted. In an instant, the top of one side of the mountains were literally blown away. See, the whole side right here, just gone in an instant. Lava was not the main problem with Mount St. Helens. Rather, it was the immense amount of rock and ash that exploded in the air, as well as the landslide that followed as the mountain came crashing down into the valley below. This is what Mount St. Helens looks like today. Far cry different, right? It's still tall enough to rise above the clouds, but if you compare this to the first picture you saw, you can see that it is not the same mountain at all. Mount St. Helens has erupted several more times after that day in 1980, and it still erupts occasionally to this day. Here's another place in the United States where there's lots of volcanic activity. This place is called Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone is mostly in Wyoming, with parts of it extending into Idaho and Montana, so still more westward United States. Yellowstone National Park is home to many interesting and beautiful sights. Like Hawaii, Yellowstone is situated on top of a hot spot, a place where there's lots of magma close to the surface. In Yellowstone, the magma has stayed underground and has not erupted to the surface. So magma underground, lava above ground. Magma, lava. Magma, lava. Okay, I can rock with that. Yellowstone is famous for its geysers. A geyser is a rare geologic event that occurs when water seeps down through cracks into the crust and meets up with hot rocks. When the water touches the hot rocks, it turns into steam. As more water seeps in, more steam is created and pressure begins to build. Eventually, all this heat and pressure, eventually is a time word, forces the steam to find a way back out. In another type of volcanic activity that you've learned about, this process is caused by the build, as in other types of volcanic activity that you have learned about, this process is caused by the build-up and release of pressure underground. The result is a geyser, steam and water spewing up out of the earth. These particular geysers are relatively small. They spurt and bubble all day long in water pools or springs, which have a pretty bluish-green color created by certain minerals that collect there. This geyser has a name. It is called Old Faithful. The word faithful means trustworthy or reliable. Old Faithful got its name because you can count on the fact that it's going to erupt several times each day. It's not possible to predict exactly when it will erupt, but it typically blows its lid about every 90 minutes. Give or take a few. Old Faithful spews out steam and hot water for anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes. It can spew as much as 8,000 gallons of water up to 185 feet in the air. Every day during the summer, when the park is full of visitors, hundreds of people gather around to watch the world's most famous geyser. Although they come in many forms, shapes, and sizes, all volcanoes and geysers have two things in common. One, they are the Earth's way of releasing heat and pressure from deep underground. And two, each one tells us a little more about the history of the Earth. And one other thing, all volcanoes and geysers are extremely hot. Very, very hot. So keep at a safe distance and admire them from afar. Your friendly neighborhood geologist keeping you safe. Alright guys, that was good. I enjoyed that. Did you? Yes. Yes. So that is the Earth Inside Out Part 3. And you know, we didn't talk about the core like I thought we would. More about this mantle, huh? Mantle's got a lot going on. Well, yeah, think about it. The mantle is the thickest layer. So therefore, there's a lot going on there, right? Yeah. Alright guys, my first question is, how did volcanoes form the islands of Hawaii? Okay, so, yes, the islands of Hawaii were formed by lava piling up over thousands and thousands of years to become dry land. So, it's a big lava pile. So, lava piled up to form dry land. Good. Excellent. In which layer of the earth does magma form? See, I kind of already answered this question. What's that one? The mantle, correct. Yes, magma forms in the mantle. Bonus question, once magma erupts to the surface, it is called lava. So magma in the mantle, lava on the crust. Good. Mantle, mantle. Magma in the mantle, lava on the crust. Excellent, excellent. All right, so a geyser, we learned, is a place where steam and water erupt from the earth. Okay? How is a volcano like a geyser, and how are they different? I choked on my excitement. How is a volcano like a geyser? I'll give you a clue. They're both eruptions. Yes, they're both eruptions caused by heat and pressure. Good. So how is a volcano like a geyser? They are both. So eruptions caused by heat and pressure. Well, how are they different? But how are they different? Volcanoes spew lava, geysers spew steam and water. So that's, again, people get much closer to geysers because while the steam and water is really, really hot, also slightly less dangerous than a lava, I would say. At least slightly. A lot of bit, yeah. So, they are different in that volcanoes equal lava, whereas geysers equal water. And I'm just going to write water because steam is the gas of water. We talked about solids, liquids, and gas. So water in a solid is ice, water in a liquid is water. Water as a gas is steam. So volcanoes, lava, geysers, water. Different states of water. And my last question, why do scientists study volcanoes and geysers? These earth scientists, these geologists, why do they choose to study volcanoes and geysers? To keep us safe, yes. And what else? To learn about the history of the earth. They want to continue learning about the history of the earth. You know the title of this whole domain? Yeah. So, why do scientists study volcanoes and geysers? To keep us safe and to learn more about the history of the earth. Excellent, excellent. All right, guys, that concludes our conversation about the Earth Inside Out Part 3. No, there's no Part 4. The next one has a different title. We spent a lot of time with the crust and the mantle because the mantle is the thickest, the crust is the thinnest, but that's the surface where we live. The inner and outer core, so outer liquid, inner solid because of pressure. But guys, that does conclude our text for the day. And all right, little budding geologists, I will see you later.